Welcome to LabCast, a podcast about the medical laboratory science profession, brought to you by MedLab Convo. To get notified once we drop an episode, you can do well to subscribe to all our social media platforms at MedLab Convo. For questions, feedbacks, and shout-outs, you can do well to send a mail to at medlabconvolabcast@gmail.com. Thank you for listening.
At some point in school, almost every student asks themselves one question. Am I actually going to make it through this course? Maybe after failing a test, maybe during postings, maybe while watching everyone else seem to understand things faster. Can you actually relate to this dilemma? I am Jesse Tomisin, your host for today, and here with me in the studio is Praise.
Hi everyone, good evening. It's nice to meet you.
So for this episode of LabCast, we have two wonderful guests and they are medical laboratory scientists to the table for a very honest conversation about the realities of the journey from being a student to a professional. So scientist Chukwudalu, can we meet you?
Hello everyone. My name is Chukwudalu AJ. Of course, a medical lab scientist, and just a medical lab scientist that's interested in quality management in the laboratory. Basically, I'm happy to be here.
Thank you so much. Scientist Favor, would love to know you.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Okafor Favor Chinemerem. I am a medical laboratory scientist working in Lagos. I am particularly interested in seeing that our profession grows and just becomes better. So I'm here.
Speaking about passion, love to meet you as well. And I'm very sure our listeners are really eager to hear from you. So I'm excited about this episode because we also asked medical laboratory science students from MedLab Universe community to send in some questions they are curious about. And trust me, some of them are deeply relatable. So whether you are barely surviving coursework, questioning your future, chasing a better CGPA, or simply trying not to burn out, this conversation is for you. So grab a seat and come to the front row. We'll be discussing the topic from student to senior scientists, real life career stories from the laboratory.
To break the ice, before becoming scientist, and this question is to MLS Chukwudalu, what type of student were you and what course humbled you the most?
Okay, what type of student was I? Okay, I would say I was an above average student. Yeah, in terms of academics now, not I didn't do crazy stuff that is going to get everybody wow and stuff. Like I didn't have like crazy grades that is going to wow anybody, but they were very good grades. I came out with a 4.2 for thereabouts. So that's the kind of student I was. And in terms of my life, I would say I was a triangle student. I'm sure many of you can relate to what a triangle student is. School, lodge, church. That was basically my life. So that's the kind of student I was basically. And a course that humbled me was my 100 level Math 101, 102, Math 102. That was the one of differentiation, integration, and stuff. So I actually failed it at first sitting, and it really disturbed a lot of things because rewriting it's coming to 200 level where I'm supposed to take off. So it was a lot. So it really like shook me. Yes.
Oh, wow. I think I can relate to the aspect of a course humbling you because in my own scenario, mine was chemistry 156. And I remember praying to God a triple tarmac that I don't want to fail that course. So yeah, I think I can relate to that. In fact, one of the students said this, and I quote: "I used to be bright in secondary school, but now I don't understand anything anymore. How can I regain an academic comeback as an MLS student?" So can you, MLS, that relate to this? And have you ever felt academically lost?
Okay, so that's a question that has come from a real situation. Okay, so honestly, I don't think I can relate to being academically lost. Well, personally, I've not been academically lost. I mean, yes, I did have a carryover, but it was just a one-off. So I can't really say I can relate to being academically lost. But from interacting with people, one thing I can say about that situation of being academically lost is, first of all, you have to just realize that just the same way there are challenges in every phase of life. But one thing I'll say is have great friends, all right, people that you can actually talk to, and people that are doing well academically, but are still great friends. I don't know if you get what I mean. Just by speaking to them, by being in their circle, and by telling them these things, they can actually help you to come out of it. And every other thing is cliche, put in the effort, and I believe that could help. And then to your other question, being doing well in secondary school and then coming into the university, a totally different system entirely, and then you now feel okay that you are behind. So first of all, I would say that the amount of effort that it takes to come out tops in class in secondary school is quite different from university, entirely different. So, but then one thing you must understand that it's a different playing field, but at the very core, everyone actually has the ability to do well academically, every single person. So it just depends on you and what you believe. So first of all, you must actually believe that you can actually do well in this thing. Of course, you've had a track record from secondary school, but then again, it's a different playing field. So you have to put in a little more effort. So one thing I would say is, for me, because I was also in this situation where I put in very little effort, but I was still doing well in secondary school, coming to university and then having more difficult work to do. So one thing I did is I read a lot, and I usually started reading on time. All right, you don't want to resort to cramming in university, especially in a course like medical lab science. It's not going to work. It can take you thus maybe far to some extent, but it's not going to work at all. It's chance of it working is very little. All right. So reading a lot. Then also, like I said in the other question about feeling academically lost, in this case, you can have a reading buddy, like a, a friend that you read with. And I also recommend a smaller circle, because when it becomes too much, it may just become another cruise group. So maybe one person, two people that actually have the same goal as you, want to do well academically. All right. And then another thing I'd say is revise. So MLS in class is like practical being taught as theory. So a lot of things that you're going to be taught is going to be abstract. So chances of you get the whole idea just reading it one is very slim. All right, so you may need to revise to get more understanding. And that brings me to another point, which is you can use other materials beyond what was given in class. So this may not exactly help you in the exam, but you know that as a med lab student, you are preparing for beyond just the exam. You're preparing to be a medical lab scientist. So other tools, um, PubMed, and even YouTube videos. YouTube videos was a great help for me. And more importantly, ask questions, listen well in class and ask questions. So if possible, though I know um, it may not always be feasible for you to um, read ahead of the class, because it's when you've read something that you now even need the question to ask. So it may not always be feasible for you to read ahead of the class, but then as much as you can, just try, right? But regardless, listen well in class and ask questions. And you can also reach out to people in class that may know. There's always someone that will know a particular topic more than you do. There are also seniors in your school. So all of that, with all of that, those steps, I feel you can have your academic comeback. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you so much for your detailed response. Even though you've crashed into some of the questions I have coming up, but there are some areas that we'll need you to highlight more on. So one major theme from the questionnaire was regrets. And possible regrets we noted some students might have not networking early. You mentioned having a close circle the other time, ignoring soft skills, focusing on only grade, no extracurricular activities, not asking questions, not being curious enough, comparison with peers, fears of lecturers, avoiding opportunities, lack of balance, not learning technology or research early. So, what was that one thing you think should have been done better as a student in this kind of show?
Okay, so I did mention that I was a triangle student, church, home, school. So I think I can relate to having regrets. So one major thing for me was not networking with lecturers enough, right? Because I think that these people have can give you that opening that you need to, especially research, the world of research. They can actually give you that opening. But personally, I did not engage in activities that brought me close to my lecturer. It was just in final year where I had my supervisor. So yes, networking with lecturers.
What would you advise a student that is having like opportunity issues? They can't really network properly, probably because they are shy and introverts. They're in a gathering filled with opportunities and yet still they can't lay hold of it. What can you advise such a student?
So I'll tell you to just take the bull by the horn, honestly. You just have to come out of your shell, right? And that's one thing that I'm learning now. Just come out. You everything that every all those shyness and everything, it's all in your head actually. It's all in your head. The world is not that hostile, it's not that difficult. So you just need to take that bold step, walk up to your lecturer. And for when you're in a place where there are those opportunities, so for example, maybe it's a seminar or something, and then your entry point could be a question from what was being taught in the seminar. So you see someone that, okay, this person is actually in the line where I think I want my career to go to. So, and the person has just taken a seminar on the topic. So you can just, from a question, walk up to the person and then just use that question as your entry point. And from there, a conversation has started. So it doesn't have to be too, don't overthink, don't overthink it, honestly. You just need to take the bull by the horn.
And then some certain things you look at yourself, like you mirror back on, and you're like, oh, I did some things back then. They don't really matter to me much more like right now. Like, do you have those moments whereby you reflect and you're like, yeah, I don't really think those things matter to me right now?
Okay, do you mean like things I engaged in that are probably like wasted time, or is that what you mean?
Yeah, probably things that you invested so much time and energy on back then, but probably you could have invested in something else, and you're reflecting and you're like, oh, I should have even done something else instead of doing this instead. Maybe you've
Okay.
grown out of them.
Okay. All right. So one of those things would be, so in school I did play games a lot. Just go to your neighbor's room and just it was a way to also distress anyway, but I think I did it a little too much. But I did correct myself towards at some point. But I think some of those times where I was over rewarding myself in the name of distressing, I think I over rewarded myself sometimes. I could have used it to do more important things. But in terms of actual like engagement, maybe a job or something, I don't really have any regrets in that line. Yeah.
Awesome stuff. So to you, scientists favor, we've been dying to hear your voice again. We literally had a response that just said CGPA, and that was it. So that means that students face a lot of anxiety grades, and it's probably the elephant in the room. How important is CGPA really after school? Is it just a scam? Are we being lied to? And also, what's the fate and the hope for low CGPA students? Can they still thrive, and how so?
Okay, so if I'm going to answer the question directly, I would say yes, CGPA matters everywhere. But if I'm going to be less direct and more practical, I would say no. What you know is what matters the most. So, as a student, I had a lot of problems with my CGPA also. I wanted to finish with first class, but after year two, I was just begging to finish with my sets because what I was seeing, I could not understand nothing. And at the end, I finished with a good CGPA. But coming out, I realized that it doesn't matter as much. What matters in long term is what you know. So is it important to have a good CGPA? Of course, yes. If you're planning on Japan or leaving the country and all, of course, you know that your CGPA will matter, your transcript will matter. But if you are not, really, very few people would ever ask you what you graduated with when they are, searching for someone to take up job opportunities or something. They want to know what you have upstairs. They want to know what you have at hand, what you can do, how you can contribute to them. So I would not say CGPA is a scam. I would just say maybe it's a little overhyped. Maybe we should focus more on what you know. So you might even be a first class student, and truth be told, you do not know so much. You're just particularly skilled at remembering so many things in the exam hall, and you have your first class. So I think we should emphasize what you know as a medlab student, what you know as a professional, what you know as an intending professional. The second question was can low,
Low
right?
CGPA.
Can low, yes,
Yeah, low
can low
CGPA
CGPA
students.
students still thrive? How so? I'll answer this with a story. So back in school, we had a lecturer, and he was always telling us about how he finished with a third class. And finishing with the third class is a big deal because you can't even go for masters or anything. You have to still do postgraduate degree and all to prove to them that you know something. It's just that things were not so aligning back then. And so this man, currently, he's one of the top lecturers in our school. He has traveled to so many countries to present research. He has taken up so many grants, and he keeps telling us that he did not even finish with a good grade to start with, right? So I still strongly believe that it depends on what you know and how much you are willing to build yourself as a professional. CGPAs are good, but they are not everything. Very few people will ask you what you finished with. They want to know what you have. So yes, students with low CGPA can still thrive. If you're still a student and you still have an opportunity to remedy it, please, by all means, remedy it. It is never a bad thing to be able to say, I am a first class student, obviously. It would raise your ranks. If you now have something upstairs to join, that's just keep shooting for the stars. But if it's something you cannot remedy, invest in yourself. Invest in what you have, in what you know, in what you can offer, what you can put on the table, right? What you can contribute.
Thank you so much for that beautiful response. That circles back to what scientist Chukwudalu was mentioning about building your circle, the regrets and how to overcome the regrets. And these are part of the regret situation as well. And, there are a lot of students in this situation and they are thinking, I only have MLS in my hand. I don't have it in my hand. Like there is no skill to back it up even after school. So it's just all about the grace. So to become a well-positioned scientist beyond the grades, what skills or habits would you advise a student to start building even right from undergrad to graduation time?
Okay, so one of the first things I would say is understand that you would keep learning. You would always be a student, no matter how high you go. You would always be a student. And it's important to know that because that's a skill that so many people don't have. They don't know how to learn. They feel like they've gotten to a point where nobody can teach them again. They're now authorities. And it's a problem because the truth is that the world is moving. What you know as at 10 years ago will become outdated. You need to learn. So number one, cultivate a learning skill, a learning habit. Even as a professional, you don't only learn when you're a student. You could, life is about learning. Develop a habit of learning things, learning new things. Also, very importantly, learn about MedLab beyond the bench. This is this is a regret I have personally because I feel like there's so many things I would have done differently, right? If I had had some information that I have currently, right? Learn about other things. MedLab is a very vast field. MedLab is more than doing wider land MP, to be honest. We have emerging opportunities and skills in MedLab. We have genomics, we have molecular biology, we have bioinformatics, right? We have so many things that you can add and make yourself even way more valuable than somebody with a first class, which is the truth. If you as a first class student have only the knowledge of what is on the bench and me with my second class, maybe upper or lower, whatever it is, can do something that is more advanced than you, the truth is that I would get better opportunities. It's just the truth. So I don't know, invest in other things that makes you better. There are so many medical laboratory science students everywhere. Every year, council inducts a lot of people. Dare I say, thousands of scientists. So what would set you apart when you get to the labor market? What will make you different? Right? So invest in those skills that will make you different. Find something that you like, find something that interests you, and just do something with it. Find something that interests you and just do something with it.
Yeah, find something that interests you and just do something with it. And like you said, to keep learning. So I myself, I'm learning a lot from this conversation, and I believe that our audience too are also learning from this beautiful interaction that we're having here. So another thing I would love to ask MLS favor is the reality of MLS beyond school. When I'm talking about realities, I mean, salary expectations, workplace realities like, it's not even 9 to 5, 8 to 5, and also the aspect of call, being on call during the public holidays, emotional exhaustion, healthcare hierarchy, and stuffs like that. These are like the realities of MLS beyond school. So I'm putting it to you, MLS favor. Do you really love what you do? Do you really love what you do? And also, to be very honest, do you regret studying MLS?
Okay, moment of truth. Okay, so the first question is, do I really love what I do? The honest answer is yes. I love what I do. I love being a scientist. I love helping people. I love finding things out and being in a position to be of help to people. So yes, I love what I do. Do I regret studying MLS? Not really. Actually, I do not. Do I regret the situation MLS is in the country currently, and do I wish things were better for us as scientists? Yes. Do I regret the situation of our council? And do I think there are things that could be done better? Yes. But do I regret studying medlab science? No, I do not. So yes, it's tough, right? There are days you wake up and you're wondering how you got here. There are patients that will test you. They will try you. there are days that, if not for the love of God in my heart and the fact that I swore an oath, man, what I would have told you this evening. But no, you cannot be that because you're a professional. You have a standard to uphold, right? So, yes, there are days that will test you as a person. There's also the fact that the salary is not really salarying like that in this Tinubu economy, right? You are struggling with a lot of things. Patients is dragging you here and there. You're still calculating how to make sure that your money gets to the end of the month. There's also the exhaustion. There's also the perpetual tiredness, right? You're just always tired because when you're not working, you're thinking of work. When you're not doing something, you're thinking of what you're supposed to be doing. So currently, I am heading the laboratory section in the hospital where I work. And it's a lot of work because you have to even manage people, right? So as a scientist, there is also a possibility that you would manage people because you're the head of the lab. So if you're working with technicians, you have to be the head, you have to lead them. So there's also the part that you are expected to manage other people, manage their emotions, make sure that work is running fine. It's a lot. But is it rewarding? Yes. Every time I put out a result and I see that this person is getting the help they need, I feel rewarded. I feel proud of my work, right? So yes, the situations are not ideal. Conditions are not perfect. There are still things that can be fixed and done better. But do I regret studying medical laboratory sciences? No. And I don't think you should regret it too, because I see a lot of students say things like, if I had known, I would have gone for something else. Well, you are here now, and all you can do is make the best out of it. There are so many opportunities for you as medical laboratory science students, and I'm not even saying this to just make you feel better. I'm telling you the truth. There are so many things you can do with this your license when you get it. So focus on getting the license, focus on graduating well, focus on building yourself, focus on other things that are beyond the bench. MedLab has gone beyond MP and YDAO. MedLab has diversified, right? People are making a lot of money from what they know as medical laboratory scientists. So focus on those things that make you distinct, and you will see yourself soaring.
Thank you very much, MLS Favor. And I think from what you said, what I can take from that is, you are in that situation already, and this is to our audience. You are in that situation already. You're in school already. So the best you can do for yourself is to make the best of that opportunity. Is to, ensure that you are growing and making the best of the opportunity. So this question again is to you, MLS Favor. What shocked you as a professional? What was your greatest shock, in your journey as a professional? What shocked you the most?
Okay, so what shocked me the most has to be the fact that the most important part of your training as a scientist, or one of the most important parts of your training as a scientist, is those lab posters that that you used to miss. You see those lab posters that you used to skip, that you will not go on some days because you feel tired. My dear, you are gonna pay for it, because when you eventually get out there, nobody is asking you to name to recite principle of anything. They're asking you, can you do this? Can you do that? Okay, what can you do? Oh, look at this result. What do you think we should do? They're asking you real life questions with real life scenarios. Nobody's asking you oh yeah, tell me the principle of this, or precautions. Nobody's asking you that though. And it really shocks me because it felt like I had to start afresh to learn everything that I learned in the entire 5 years of studying MedLab. And thankfully, I did my internship in a facility where we were stretched. In a facility where nobody is giving you automatic anything. You are gonna pipette, you're gonna pick everything, and you're gonna read the spec. So thankfully that built me a lot, and I can say that it helped me because when I eventually got a job in Lagos, I wasn't struggling as much. I still had some things I knew. I mean, there was still a lot of things I was still, wavering and wobbling in, but at least I had a backdrop. I had a background. So one of the things that shocked me the most is that posting you are skipping, my dear, that posting you are skipping, you might need to unskip it. You might need to have to go back and find a day that you just go back and see what you're doing, because nobody's going to ask you principle. Principle is very important. It's good to know why you're doing what you're doing, but the practical part is very important. So I think that was what shocked me the most.
Wow, wow, wow. So to our audience now, unskip that posting in MLS Favor's voice. Unskip the posting. All right, now back to you, MLS Favor. During your studentship days, were you able to balance MLS and other facets of your life without burning out? And if you could go back in time, what would you do differently? Or yeah.
Okay, so MLS, Dalu said he was a triangle student. I would say I was, what is the shape with like so many so many angles? Star is not even enough to count it. I was literally everywhere. I was active in church, I was active in politics, I was the debates coordinator for my campus. I was everywhere, right? And at some point, I had to ask myself, Favor, why are you in school? Because you're doing a lot of things at the same time. You're not gonna focus on this med lab. You need to focus. But one of the things that helped me balance things without burning out was the fact that I was able to ration out my time appropriately, right? So I knew what I was supposed to do at every point in time. Best believe that 3 weeks to exam, 2 weeks to exam, you're not gonna see me anywhere. Okay, apart from church, because obviously I have to go and pray to God that doesn't help me to write the exams. But you're not gonna see me anywhere else. I'm going to be inside. I'm gonna be reading because I know that if I fail, it's a problem. So I think I was able to balance things up by rationing my time. And really, we all have 24 hours. Really, everybody has equal amounts of time. It's just what we do with the time, right? So you might feel like, oh, I don't have time to do this, I don't have that. It's because you have not sat down and asked yourself what you do with the hours in your day. Most times as students, we like to doom scroll, and it's the truth. We would spend hours just pressing our phones, right? So it's not like you don't have time. It's just that you're not rationing out the time appropriately. You're not measuring out your time and slotting things in for them. So basically, it's just knowing what to do and when to do it and how to do it. So you just need to ration out your time, balance things up, understand what you're supposed to do. You should know that when once is anything exam period, even a month to exam, you should know that by that time you should be withdrawing slowly from things that will take up your time. Right? There are times when you can be social in school. There are times when everybody is in a happy go lucky mood. But there are also times when you need to understand that okay, I need to withdraw a little, so I need to go and do this, I need to go and do that. My books are waiting for me. Right. So that really helped me in balancing things because it was just a lot in school. If I could go back in time, what would I do differently now? Well, if I could go back in time, I think I would have invested more in other other things aside bench work and aside just reading and passing exams and having good grades. Right. So I spent a lot of times reading, and I was not a good crammer in school. I don't know how to cram. So if I'm leaving something till the night before exam, best believe that I'm gonna flop because I don't know how to cram. So I spent a lot of time reading and trying to be better and trying to be good, mostly because I was scared. Like I already pointed out earlier in the conversation, I just wanted to graduate with my sets. I have no business with first class. I don't want it. Let me just finish with the people I started school with. That was all. So I was struggling at some point, but thankfully towards the end it was better. But I just realized that I spent so much time only reading and trying to have good grades. It's important to have good grades, but it's also very important to invest in other things. Do research, find a research group, do something, publish your work, have your name in a journal, on a book, on a work, right? Take a fellowship, like enroll for, I mean, join a fellowship. Do something outside just what you are meant to do. Do something that will make you stand out significantly. Do something that when they look at your CV or your resume, they see something impressive, right? That's one of the beauties of, because when you come out, best believe that you will not have the time. Once you come out, your parents will first of all tell you that you are finished school. I'll be okay. That's good. Now, can we face the real life scenarios of what is happening in your life? And then you realize that you don't even have time to do a lot of things that you would have otherwise done as a student. So that's one regret that I have. So pressure, I think I did a good job managing pressure back then, but I also think I would have reduced the amount of things I got into. Like I said, I was into a lot of things, and now that I'm out of school, I'm wondering what their purpose was or is, because I am not seeing it right now. Right, so maybe I would have cut out a few things that were not so necessary and filled in that space with other things that would have benefited me or that would be benefiting me more in like currently if I had done them. I don't know. Just work on how you manage time. Sleep well. Eat well. Very important. Sleep well and eat well. Rest. Take breaks. If you're feeling saturated, your head is already heavy, my dear, close your eyes and sleep, because whatever you are reading at that moment is not going to enter anywhere. Just sleep. Rest. Ration out your time. Most times we spend so much time scrolling and then we don't sleep and then we complain we are tired. But the truth is that you had those times. You just did not use it well, which is the truth. And this past, I'm saying it even for myself too, because I am guilty. We are all guilty. We are all young people. We are all guilty of doom scrolling. Right. So you spend a lot of time scrolling on your phone and then you sleep very late, probably by 3, and then you have a lecture by 7, and then you're like, I'm so tired. And the truth is that you're the one, it's you. So just, if you can manage your time properly, you'd realize that so many things are not necessary and so many things will free up your time for you to be a more productive person.
Thank you so much for your submission. Scientist Choco Dalu, I want you to piggyback on what Scientist Favor has mentioned, especially about being exhausted as a medical laboratory science student. The training is rigorous, is intense, is tedious, trying to balance everything out, the grades, the skills, and everything. And a student is somewhere there thinking, I'm just exhausted. I'm into a lot, or maybe not even into so much and still just exhausted. And they are listening right now. What would you want them to take away from this episode?
Okay, so for any student out there that is your head is heavy and you're just feeling, so I would say that just breathe. All right, you're not carrying the problems of the entire world on your head, so just breathe. You can take a walk. It's one thing that also worked for me. Just an evening walk, the school area where I was also helped because it was an area where there's usually evening breeze. Just take a walk, and then sometimes I just go and sit in the school field where I'll get the breeze very and just clear my head. So I'd highly recommend that. And then eat. Sometimes the problems you're going through, food can solve it, honestly. Just eat, rest. And I'm heavy on this. Have a friend that you speak to, all right, and just get back on your feet.
Wow. Breathe, take a walk, and like you said, food can just solve that problem. This is so interesting. All right, so one thing this conversation reminds us is that behind every senior scientist was once a student who felt confused, overwhelmed, scared, uncertain too. So if you're currently in this phase, we want you to hang in there, and we hope that one day you would look back at the struggles and be grateful that you did not give up. Thank you to our guests for being honest with their stories. And thank you to everyone who sent in questions for this episode. If this conversation resonated with you, share it with another MLS student or colleague. As usual, we would love for you to send in your thoughts, questions, and even episode suggestions to us via labcast@medlabconvo.com. Until next time, keep learning, keep growing, and take one day at a time. Remember to breathe. Everyone says bye.
Bye.